Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us for today's event. What we are talking about today is local help for startups in Germany. I'm André Pitié, community lead at French Tech Berlin, startup founder and working in Germany for the last 16 years. And together with Marie-Avril Steinkühler, we met with Johann Zimmermann from the BMWK a few months ago, and we thought that it could be good to have a series of online conferences to help founders understand how can they get help from the state and from cities and regions. Last week, we had a first episode about state help, and today we will talk about regional helps, which will be about welcoming first Johann Zimmermann, who will present the Digital Hub initiative, then Friedemann Lotz from Berlin Partner, Maximilian Lenschow from Bavaria, Jérôme Hamacher, who will talk about French Tech Munich, Sebastian Hannebusch will talk about NRW Bank and Düsseldorf, Adrien Serre will talk about La French Tech Düsseldorf, Veronika Reichbott will talk about Hamburg Invest, Samir Adal will talk about DIZ in Karlsruhe. And finally, we will have Susanne Rost, who will talk about SpinLab and Leipzig. And we will have all of this in 1 hour, followed by 30 minutes of Q&A. Marie-Avril, do you want to say one or two words?
Thank you very much, André. Yes, thank you all for being there. French Tech Berlin, we are a community of entrepreneurs supporting French-German relation and development of exchanges. And we support the expansion of French companies coming to Germany and German companies coming to France and wanted to grow in France. So we do appreciate also supporting in our support, putting people together, but also give some really very useful insights. So I think that Germany is very impressive with its local helps. Each Länder have really provided for a specific and very fruitful programs. So our aim today is to present that together with Johan. Thank you again, Johan. And the whole people who are there. Of course, there are all the solutions, but impossible to do everything in 1 hour. But you still have a few tips today with this lender. Thank you very much for being there.
Thank you. And one last point before I give the microphone to Johan. This Zoom is recorded, and the presentations that you will see today will be available starting this afternoon on our website, FrenchTechBerlin.com, as well as a link to the recording, the replay of our video. Johan.
Thank you, André. Thank you, Marie-Avril. Thank you for the introduction and also for organizing this event, or this series of event actually. And I think it's a really good sign and which shows that we are cooperating so closely, which is really good. Well, my name is Jochen. I'm heading the division for the startup strategy at the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs and Climate Action. And last week, I already gave an overview over the German startup ecosystem as a whole. And we also had several presentations on specific support and financing programs also on the federal level, like Exist, High-Tech Gründerfonds, and some more. I'll also give you an overview of the startup strategy, what we are doing there, because the startup strategy is the key document for the startup policy of the federal level. But I also said that the German startup ecosystem is pretty diverse, and it's not only the federal level, but it's the federal level and the regional and the Länder level. And we see that diversity as a big strength, actually, because it gives startups and other partners a very wide range of choices and opportunities. And well, therefore, when we are abroad or when we talk to people from other countries, we always want to present the whole variety of the ecosystem. And yeah, that's why we are here today. And I'm grateful that that you have the opportunity to present some of the programs and initiatives on the Länder and regional level. And among these initiatives being presented today, there are two digital hubs that are going to do some presentations. They are part of the digital hub initiative. Andre already mentioned it in his introduction. And one of these, one digital hub from Karlsruhe will give us a presentation. They have an AI focus, and the other digital hub is the one in Leipzig, SpinLab. They have more like a focus on smart infrastructure and similar topics. I already gave some information on the Digital Hub initiative last week. So if you want to have like more insights on that, more information on that, you can also have a look on the French Tech website, because there you can download the slides from last week. But in a nutshell, we have it's an initiative under the responsibility of the Federal Ministry of Economic Affairs. And there we have 25 hubs all over Germany. It's physical hubs, actually. And their partners of the ecosystem meet together, and we try to match them so that startups find business partners in the industry and the other way around. So the industry partners get innovation by startups. So that's the general idea of the Hub initiative. And as I said, if you want to have more information, I recommend to download the slides on the French Tech websites. And yeah, we are also very excited also to listen to the other presentations by the Länder initiatives, and which gives you, I think, a very good overview over the startup ecosystem in Germany as a whole, and what the Länder and regions can offer for startups and other partners of the ecosystem. And yeah, now I'm really excited to listen to the presentation, and thanks again to all the speakers of today. Thanks again for the participants, and of course, thank you so much to French Tech for organizing and setting up this series of webinars. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Johan. We start with Friedemann Lotz from Berlin. Friedemann.
That's perfect. Hi, everybody. From Berlin. The sun is shining bright, so the lighting conditions are not ideal. So yeah, apologies for that. But in Berlin, sometimes we don't get too much sun in winter, so I won't complain. My name is Friedemann Lotz. I work for Berlin Partner, the economic development agency of Berlin, where I support tech companies that want to set up shop in Berlin. On that note, thanks a lot to the organizers for this great opportunity to give you a flavor of what Berlin's got to offer. Next slide, please. So before we dive in, allow me to just give you a tiny bit of self-promo. At Berlin Partner, we are around 200 people who help companies launch, set up, innovate, expand in Berlin. We also help international companies that want to set up in Berlin, but we also help Berlin-based companies with all kinds of services. Our organization is a public-private partnership, but we are mainly funded by the state of Berlin. So all of our services are free of charge, which is, I think, a good thing to know for startups. Next slide, please. To make it a little bit more tangible, so what can you expect as a foreign startup that is scaling to Berlin? So we can help you navigate the Berlin tech ecosystem, the Berlin business environment, the different key industries. We offer soft landing support free of charge for companies that want to, as I said, set up operations or relocate to Berlin. And how do we do this? We have dedicated service teams that can help you find office space, that can help you identify the right public funding schemes, that can help you find the right talent and build a team in Berlin. and also maybe in the next step to also go to other markets. So we organize tons of delegation trips to other markets and attend a lot of big tech events. So if you have an address in Berlin, you're always very much welcome to participate in that. In case you want to hire people, let's say tech people from outside of the EU, we can help with visa questions. So this is a service called Business Immigration Service. We always love to connect you to the right networks, the right associations, the right players here in Berlin, give you exposure also through our social media, help you become more visible as a future employer here in Berlin. What we cannot do, however, is to find customers for you, since we are operating also with taxpayers' money. But we operate Berlin's leading C-level business network called Berlin Partner Network, with around 240 member companies, from startups to big corporates. And this is basically the only fee-based service that we offer. Everything else is for free. Next slide, please. So I might be slightly biased concerning Berlin, but here's what our other founders say they like about Berlin, according to the Startup Heatmap survey from 2023. So unfortunately, I won't have the time to go through all of these metrics that you see in the spider chart. But the first one may be a key aspect, which is access to funding. So obviously, there's tons of great startup hubs in Germany today, many of them represented here in this call. But still, German startups mostly come to Berlin when they need to find investment, because this is where you'll find the 170 plus VCs, a super active business angel scene. And to give you an idea, over the past 5 years, Berlin startups were able to raise around 24 billion euro. And to put this into perspective, it's usually either Paris or Berlin that attract most VC investment in the EU. Next slide, please. Of course, not all startups are VC case, and Berlin also offers different public funding schemes for everybody. The first one that I would like to mention is called Berlin Startup Stipendium, which translates to Berlin Startup Scholarship. So it's as an early stage startup, if you are selected in one of the 14 specific equity-free acceleration programs, up to 3 members from your founding team can get 2,200 euro per month to work on their startup for 6 to 12 months. Next is a program called Gründungsbonus, which sort of translates to founding bonus, which consists in a 50K grant for the launching phase of your startup. This is a program that a lot of Berlin startups use. And if I had to pick one last program, I would mention the so-called GRW or GRW program, which is open to SMEs and corporates as well, where you can get a grant, which either for up to 30% of personnel costs for newly created jobs or for capex investment. And if you are working on real cutting edge stuff and that qualifies as R&D, there's many more programs available. So yeah, as a call to action, like if you need someone to navigate you through this and help you with application, that's really something that we offer for free at Berlin Partner. Next slide, please. So moving on to the ecosystem, you really have a super dense landscape of support organizations here in Berlin, ranging from hubs to co-working spaces to accelerators, networks, communities, you name it. And speaking of networks, of course, big shout out to La French Tech. Their events are the best. And you meet super supportive people, and definitely a great way for new French companies that want to mingle and extend their network in Berlin. When you compare Berlin to, let's say, Paris, it's definitely more fragmented, I would say. So there's not this one place that stands out like Station F. It's more decentralized, like Germany as a whole. But having worked in Paris for around 9 years, a huge difference that I see is that the Paris ecosystem is less international than the Berlin one. So in Berlin, you have 42% of the employees in Berlin's startups which are from abroad. The ecosystem runs in English. Most of the events are in English. So to sum it up, Berlin still is this big magnet for international talent because they know it's like a tolerant city, it's a cosmopolitan place, it's a fun place. Some would even say that it's the least German city of them all. Plus, you have a really deep talent pool of people, and I think this is also key. People that have worked for one of the many scale-ups and unicorns and who have gained critical experience in scaling companies. So just to touch upon some of the metrics that founders appreciate about Berlin. To sum it up, Berlin's a great landing spot for international companies. Next slide. So if you want to dig a little bit deeper, I've listed some additional resources for you, including a link to Startup Map Berlin if you want to do some number crunching and look into your competitors or the latest funding rounds made by your competitors. I've also listed a podcast series on market access in Germany, which I found quite useful. Some newsletters for events in Berlin, an overview of key sectors in Berlin, and also like an overview of the services that we provide as Business Development Agency of Berlin. Next slide, please. So this brings me to the end of my short presentation. If you have any questions, if you need help to unlock business opportunities in Berlin, please don't be shy and reach out. Thanks a lot for your attention.
André, we can't hear you.
Thank you very much, Friedemann. We continue with Maximilian from Bavaria.
Hello, merci beaucoup et bonjour à tous. Thank you for the invitation. My name is Max Lenschuh. I'm Deputy Head of Gründerland Bayern, the startup unit of the Bavarian Ministry of Economic Affairs. Gründerland Bayern means Bavaria, land of founders, and is also the umbrella brand for all our offers, aids, and support that our ministry and especially our partners provide for startups. Perhaps the first slide, please, or the second then. Thank you. Today I may give you a brief overview about the Bavarian startup ecosystem, about our aids to startups and founders, and also about the new French Bavarian Accelerator. And on my final slide, I've listed some useful contacts for you. Next slide, please. 2024, just to give a little bit of overview, 538 startups were founded in Bavaria, and public and private venture capitalists invested approximately 2.3 billion euros in Bavarian startup. The share of Bavarian startup in the German VC market increased up to 33%, and many Bavarian startups have a focus on deep tech and business-to-business model. And compared to other German Länder, Bavaria is number one concerning the number of new startups, and for the first time in 2024, also concerning the volume of financing rounds. But we're normally close behind Berlin, but that's the first year where we were on number one. Next slide, please. Yeah, that's a little bit complicated, but I've tried to assign on this slide our offers according to the startup development phases, thus from pre-seed to hopefully scale up. However, as often transitions are fluent, but we begin on the top because before or shortly after formation, many startups are looking for information, for training, and our partner ByStartup provides all relevant information and training to all relevant topics like form of organization, tax law, employment law. All sessions are in English, so also interesting for startups from abroad. Our business plan competitions help startups to develop a solid business plan. The best plans are awarded. However, the main value for startups is the comprehensive feedback to the business idea they get from the mentors. We're also supporting a private initiative, Startup Teens, which addresses to pupils aged between 14 and 19 who wanted to start an own business. And Startup Teens offers online coaching, also a business plan competition, and a network of more than 500 mentors. Perhaps a French pupil is listening, though this could be interesting for him too. We provide about 40 incubators, which are spread out over Bavaria. There are incubators for startups with a digital-based business model. There are also specialized tech incubators, which make available the equipment necessary for prototyping and serial A production. And an important function of our incubators is also the development of the local startup ecosystems between founders, startups, enterprises, universities, research and development organization, the military, and also the authorities. And we try to connect the local startup ecosystems among each other. We also offer several grant programs which provide founders with resources necessary for setting up the business or to realize research and development projects. We support events like the Startup Demo Nights, where selected founders can present their products to potential customers and investors. A highlight event is Bits and Pretzels. It started, I think, as a founders breakfast in 2014 and developed one of Europe's largest startup conference. Our public banks allocate borrowed capital and venture capital. Venture capital soon up to 50 million euros for a scaling up startup. And in addition, our partner ByStartup runs one of Europe's largest business angel networks with 400 business angels and 200 institutional investors. ByStartup also prepares founders for the talks to investors and matches startups with suitable investors and vice versa. And our foreign trade units help on the one side Bavarian startups to enter new markets, but our partner Invest in Bavaria supports foreign startups in setting up business in Bavaria, helps with visa, and also tries to find the ideal location for foreign startups to start their business in Bavaria. As mentioned before, our umbrella brand is Gründerland Bayern. The branding is quite colorful. It's from Bavarian blue to Frankish red and stands for the variety of young entrepreneurship in Bavaria. And perhaps one important notice, you must have a branch, not the headquarter, but a branch in Bavaria to be entitled to use most of our offers. The next slide, please. A new project is our French Bavarian Accelerator, which will be established on 29th of April. Operators are Bpifrance and ByStartup, and the aim of our accelerator is to help companies to open up markets and to form partnerships and also to set up sales and production structures. And therefore, the accelerator offers specific coaching, market knowledge, and also for French startups, the introduction to the Bavarian startup ecosystem. And for French startups, conditions of entries are a company age of more than 3 years, a team of at least 10 people, 2 million euros of completed financing rounds, a product market fit, and an existing international sales strategy for Bavaria. And I think that you can apply till 7th of February by Bpifrance. Next slide, please. Which is already my final slide here. I've listed some useful context because if you want information about the Bavarian startup ecosystem, please visit our homepage, Gründerland.Bayern. There's also a startup guide that will direct you to the right offers for your project. And I've listed also the links for Invest in Bavaria and for the competition Bpifrance. Yeah, that brings me to the end. Thank you very much for listening. Merci de votre attention.
Thank you very much, Max. We can continue with Jérôme Amaché from La French Tech Munich.
Bonjour, hallo, herzlich willkommen, servus, grüße Sie. So thank you very much for inviting us here in this big round, Andre, for all this organization. Thank you, Max, for putting forward all the great things you are doing here in Bavaria. And yes, so we from the French Tech Munich, I think you have some slides, Andre, we have been very short.
Yes.
But if you want to share that, so yes, so we have been founded in 2021 with a big splash at Bits and Pretzels, where we had a French exhibition area of over 300 square meters, about 30 startups, and been founded with experts, come later to that, in different fields around the startup ecosystem, and our mission to build bridges between France and Bavarian, German startup ecosystems. So this has always been getting connection, and you see our agenda and roadmap that you hear that Andre is showing how we do this. So on the one hand, we have orientations where you can come talk to us about soft landing, about also German startups doing business in France. We try to match people if they can get peer support, or also connect with European Champions Alliance. So we not do that alone. If it's soft landing in Bavaria, of course, we have a very good experience with Invest in Bavaria and work a lot with them together on our events that are at the core of the slide and of what we do also. We allow people to meet around their activity with a format of Frühstück, so it's very easy and open. Just check our LinkedIn, check our website to know when the next one is planned, even after April 4th. And so it allows to meet other innovative actors that come together. We are starting a new format, which I think is maybe very interesting also in terms of peer learning and sharing what are the common background issues and how to tackle them with the experience of others. So we're initiating a quarterly country manager club. And so also there, follow us on LinkedIn, and you will see when there's opportunities to join. Specifically, as I said, we will have an event on sustainability that will also, if this is the core of your activity, potentially allow you to connect to the community here in Munich with us. We're having another focus event, which is our flagship event once a year. It's the Servus Scale Up. So you see the twinkle to the Bavarian Servus comes back. So we like to be connected here. So it's going to be a special event, afternoon, evening, very nice, very party-like and business-like. We will have pitches from French and German startups in the space aerospace realm. We are very well connected here with the TUM, with the Unternehmertum, with different space actors that are located here. So it's a moment to bring them all together and potentially also open door for use. You have heard about different French techs, so we will continue. You saw that with a joint event and Bits and Pretzels, and I think Andre wants to tell me to be faster. So just the team, maybe just a quick step on the next team. You will get the slides. We have people here who are experts from their own entrepreneurship. We have actors in different ecosystem hubs. We have people specialists in investment, in human resource. So just reach out. If also I may say, like lots, what's the call to action? Find the people you think you can call. Don't hesitate if you have a question. We are very happy to help you navigate, to give you direct feedback or support on what's the next door to knock at, or when to have a good Bavarian beer together for some good time. And I just want to know that I think Karine from our president from our French Tech Munich is also on the call. So we are happy to support you.
Thank you very much, Jérôme. We continue with Düsseldorf and NRW with Sébastien Alibush.
Oui, merci André. Bonjour, mesdames, messieurs. Hello together. Thank you for the invitation and joining us this afternoon. I really appreciate to talk some minutes about NRW Bank and what we could do for you if you would like to settle or cooperate or do some business in North Rhine-Westphalia. So basically, I'm working at NRW Bank. What is NRW Bank? NRW Bank is the so-called promotional bank of our federal state of North Rhine-Westphalia. And on the next slide, you see that the state of North Rhine-Westphalia is our shareholder. So we're not a kind of private bank like Sparkasse or Deutsche Bank or whatever. We're the Bank of North Rhine-Westphalia to support businesses and do some other things. We would like to make an impact for North Rhine-Westphalia, and the support of startups is one of the main tasks in the business area we do. On the next slide, you see basically what we do as a promotional bank in North Rhine-Westphalia. So we have three main areas where we do business and want to create an impact. Next slide, please. And these three areas we work with or work in is infrastructure, municipalities, is social housing, and the business area and support of companies in North Rhine-Westphalia where I work. So in this area, that means we want to support businesses and startups who are located in North Rhine-Westphalia or would like to do some businesses in North Rhine-Westphalia. And as I said, the support of startups is one of the main tasks and main areas we do, and where we support the government and startups with products and a broad range of instruments, which you can see on the next slide. So to support startups, we have a broad range of instruments we could offer for you. The main or one of the main businesses we do for enterprises in general is interest subsidized loans, and we do the loan business together with local saving banks and private banks. Especially for startups, we have a broad range of equity products. For instance, co-investments together with business angels. We have a program called SeedCap. We have our own venture capital fund where we also do co-investments with large financing rounds and investors. We also have a lot of consultancy services, especially investor readiness, and we have a business angel platform where we bring startups and business angels together in our federal estate. And we also do investments in external funds to foster the startup business in our federal estate. I'm working in an advisory department. So what I am doing is I'm doing a kind of check what kind of public grant programs are available for startups. So my task is to support you finding the right grant program, the right network, the right initiative for your startup to do business in North Rhine-Westphalia and to use public grant and programs for startups in our federal state. This offer is for free, so it's a kind of service of our bank and the land of North Rhine-Westphalia. So please get in contact with me and the colleagues to find out what is the appropriate and right program for you to start businesses in our federal state. Next slide, please. We are very strong connected to different actors. We work together with over 200 organizations, universities, business angel networks. We also have a strong European and international network. We coordinate NRW Europe. That's a very strong network, Enterprise Europe network with over 600 partners. And we're also very closely connected to NRW Global Business, which is the agency for incoming startups in our federal state. It's also a very strong network we can offer. And we are really happy to get in contact with you in any kind of questions, doing businesses and financing startups in our federal state. Next slide, please. Why is North Rhine-Westphalia interesting for you? We think Basically, I would mention two figures. The one is we have a lot of SMEs in North Westphalia, a lot of hidden champions interested in corporations for startups and young companies. And we are the federal state with the highest density of universities. So a lot of universities, a lot of students, talents in North Westphalia, which could be of interest for you. Basically, we have two locations, Düsseldorf and Münster, as NRW Bank, and would be happy to support you in any kind of questions. I said, next slide, please. So if you have any questions, please write an email, get in contact to me, and I would happy to ask your questions and happy to connect you with colleagues of mine or other partners we have in our federal state. Thank you for listening, and happy day to you, and greetings from Düsseldorf in North Westphalia to you.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. Adrien, if you are here.
Yes, exactly. And we're staying in Düsseldorf. Thank you, Sebastian. I am Adrian. I'm taking care of the La French Tech Düsseldorf, actually. And we are also partner with NRW Bank and many other NRW and Düsseldorf operator and stakeholders. Maybe you can start pushing our slides. Yeah, so I saw that my previous colleague from Berlin and also Munich were there. So thank you so much for being there, guys. And also, we are the third community here in Düsseldorf, joining more than 1,500 followers already on our LinkedIn group. And also, we are here to connect you with French startups, scale-up investors, industry partners in mostly all the region. And we are taking care of the Düsseldorf and all the North Rhine-Westphalen region, and even brighter, maybe we go sometime to Frankfurt or Stuttgart. Next slide, please. So basically, we are also organizing a lot of events, and we are also here to help you and connect with all the stakeholders in the tech branch. We have a huge event this year, like every year. Last year was in Munich. Thank you, Stefan, and all the team and Karin. And 2 years ago, we had also in Berlin at the embassy. And this year, we will have the La French Tech in Germany Awards, which will award the best German and also French startup scale-up in different branch, like women in tech, deep tech, and many other topic, who succeeded going to Germany or going to France in both sides. We will share later all the info when we will be ready. It's going to take place on 10th of September. It's going to be a big event, and actually where I am here, it's not already the location, but we're discussing about it. Next slide, please. So we have a lot of sponsors as well, and as we mentioned with NRW Bank here, the region is very strong in economic. There's many big corporations. I could mention here the headquarters of L'Oréal, which is one of our sponsors, but also Mazar. The city of Düsseldorf is very strong in this business and helping you to settle here, and also NRW Bank for sure. Business France headquarters, he's here actually in Düsseldorf, and you have many other programs. I think the Scale Up NRW program has been already presented, and also DigiHub, etc. So next slide, please. So if you want to join the community, maybe you are interested in willing to follow us, we have a WhatsApp group on the right side. You can scan the QR code and join the WhatsApp group. We're almost 100 people following us. We're smaller than Berlin, but it starts to grow. And on the left side, the LinkedIn. So next big event we're doing, actually, there's a huge retail event at Eurocis on the 20th of February. So in almost 21 days, we will be there. And keep following us if you want to know more about us. And let's keep in touch. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Adrien. We continue with Hamburg and Veronika Reichbott.
Bonjour à tous, and thank you very much, and hello from sunny Hamburg. Yes, it's sunny here. I would love to take you actually on a tour, and much rather do this in person and show you how beautiful the city is. But unfortunately, we have to do this digital today. So who am I? I'm Veronika Reichbott. I'm the director of the startup unit of the city of Hamburg. And I work for Hamburg Invest, which is pretty much more or less the same service as Berlin Partner. So we also help international companies and startups to land softly in Hamburg. We also provide real estate. We also have some laboratories for startups. We, over the last couple of years, we had a growing service for startups. And I'm really happy to take you on a small tour now through the ecosystem of Hamburg. Next slide. So, for those of you who are not familiar with Hamburg, Hamburg is in the north of Germany. It's the second largest city. And in terms of startup ecosystems, we are third nationally ranked. We work very closely with DIRUM, so we know that we have around 1,500 verified startups. We have a ton of incubators, accelerators, and company builders, hubs and workspaces. The biggest, but the most active one in the field of startups is probably the Beta House, and also Hamburg as a very rich city. We do have a very strong business angel community, particularly coming from with the more established companies. So this is a difference to Berlin, for instance. So we have very active entrepreneurs who come like from established companies who do want to give back and are interested in either give their expertise or the money to startups. And we also have a growing VC landscape. One great thing about Hamburg is that we have around 180,000 registered companies here. So you have a really strong SME base and strong industrial base, which is particularly great if you want to find customers. So next, please. Some of our highlights from last year, I didn't bring any of the early stage financing rounds with us, but we did have quite a good year. There was some Series A financing. We had the biggest financing B round in Europe, Infinite Roots. They produce meat alternatives based on mushrooms or the roots of mushrooms, and this was really big. We have one unicorn at the moment who is a unicorn since 2023, and we had one IPO and one IPO in the making. Next, please. So, what makes Hamburg special, and for who is Hamburg? So Hamburg, as you can also see on these pictures, does include a lot of water. We have one big river, and we have one of the biggest ports of Europe. And we also have one of the biggest civil aviation spaces in Hamburg. That makes it particularly strong on, for instance, logistics, but also e-commerce or fintech is very strong in Hamburg. Also, if you remember my first slide, if you think of the geographic location, Hamburg is a very good gateway to the north of Europe. It's the largest city close to the Scandinavian countries. This, of course, also is true for the other locations, but Hamburg is a pretty good access to one of Europe's largest markets, namely Germany. Hamburg is very innovation friendly. For instance, DESY is based in Hamburg. DESY is a research institution, but we also have Fraunhofer, Helmholtz, all of these here. And we have a very strong deep tech scene in Hamburg. And my colleagues are very active trying to find ways in supporting deep tech startups and, for instance, bringing them together with VCs based in Hamburg and abroad. Sorry, not yet. For Hamburg, the whole thing of sustainability is very important. Green hydrogen, there's a big scene around it, but also wind turbines and everything based on sustainability is very important for the city of Hamburg. So all of green tech startups in the field are very welcome in Hamburg. Yeah, in the beginning, it was said that Germany is very diverse. Hamburg is also very diverse. Some of the sectors have been there for a little longer. So it's not surprising Hamburg is also very strong in media. And we have one of the, or a few of the major publishing houses here in Hamburg. And there's a strong startup scene, like especially trying to find new ways or new startup ideas how to create the media of the future. Hamburg, as I mentioned before, we have a strong set of particularly SMEs. So there's access to capital, networks, and customers. And then, of course, because Hamburg is a city state, same as Berlin, but a little bit smaller, our ways are very short. So you can reach customers in close proximity. And then also international and diverse workforce. We have some large corporates here. We have a lot of universities which attract international talent. And one thing, Hamburg, due to all the water, but also the surrounding of the cities, Hamburg has a very high quality of life. And yeah, a lot of people like to move here. Next. Hamburg does also support startup funding, same as the other federal states. These are just a few that I brought with me today. These are grants, supplied similar, like the NLB Bank in Hamburg is called EFB, or EFB Innovationsstarter. They supply grants for early stage startups, but also for later stages and in the growth phase. And you can see on the right, I tried to map it a little bit. It's not perfect, but we do have a growing VC and investor scene in Hamburg. And our largest VCs that are based here are DTCP, for instance, Endite, and Set Ventures. One program, and I will post the link in a second in the chat, is really interesting if you're an international scale-up. So we did try to find a program that matches international scale-ups with the large set of SMEs we have in Hamburg. That is called Scale Up Hamburg, and we are trying to get familiar with the concept of venture clienting and using this for the companies so that the companies in Hamburg can work with international scale-ups. My colleagues, they support these scale-ups by giving them financial support, and so not financial support, but financial support in like offering the business service. So they don't give the money directly, but it's a set of tailor-made business support that they need in order to be successful in Hamburg. They've done this for a couple of years. It's a pretty good program, and the current call is currently ongoing. So I will post the link. So this is applicable for you. Please do apply. So how to stay in touch? Please do scan my contact details. With the startup unit, we're kind of the landing pad into the city of Hamburg. With us, with my colleagues and me, you will have your first talk, your first conversation. We guide you through the ecosystem and then further interlink you with the relevant people or colleagues who help you soft land in Hamburg. Startup City Hamburg, there's a newsletter. They're also LinkedIn. If you do want to stay informed what's going on in Hamburg, I recommend you signing up for the newsletter. It's also in English, or solely in English, I should say. And one important note, we don't have La French Tech Hamburg yet, but it's in the making, and I'm really please cross your fingers. Then next time we have this event, we can represent French Tech Hamburg. Thank you. Merci.
Thank you very much, Veronica. We continue with Samira Dahl from Karlsruhe and DIZ.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me today. And I would like to introduce you to the Digital Hub of Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity and the European Digital Innovation Hub, Artificial Intelligence and Cybersecurity here in Karlsruhe. You can start the presentation if you are ready.
Yep.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, my name is Samira and I am the Project and Community Manager at DIZ, the Digital Innovation Center. And together with my colleague Sebastian Felsmann, who cannot participate today, I am the hub management of our digital hub in Karlsruhe. And the digital hub and the European digital hub are inseparable and go kind of hand in hand, walk side by side in many areas. Which is why I am introducing them together. Next slide, please. But I'd like to start with our digital hub, artificial intelligence, because it's older, the network. We received the award as a hub in Karlsruhe by the Federal Ministry of Economics and Climate Protection in 2017, and we are supported by the Ministry of Economic Affairs in Baden-Württemberg. And we started with 12 hubs across Germany and grown to 25 since last year, forming a tight network that is spread across the whole Germany. And our hub in Karlsruhe, with a focus on artificial intelligence, has historically grown kind of different than other hubs, which is why we work really closely together with the Research Center for Information Technology, where Sebastian is part of the FZI. And we are closely connected to the Cyber Lab, which focuses on early stage startups. And our mission in our hub is bring in AI methods and technology into application. And for this, we build a really strong network platform to connect AI experts, startups, and companies. And our services range from those for AI experts and AI users to the initiation of projects and in visibility and organization of events. Next slide, please. The European Digital Innovation Hub is co-founded by the European Union and the Ministry of Economics, Labour and Tourism, while the services are free. And we focus more on the SME and PSO side and supporting them in bringing AI and cybersecurity into application. In this area, we work closely with many other EDHs beyond the borders of Germany and focus in Karlsruhe on the fields of test before invest, skills and training, support to find invest, where we as DIZ and the Steinbeis Europe Center is supporting in finding public funding in Germany and Europe. And the last field is innovation ecosystem and networking, where our digital hub in Karlsruhe is really strong and where we all the startups from our networks join in the services in the EDH. Next slide, please. In Karlsruhe, our EDH consists of 10 partners, core partners, who have specialized in different areas, such as mobility, like the FZI, energy, like ZSW, or in public administration as CRS and TRK, and to support in many different fields. Next slide, please. And as you can see on this map, Karlsruhe is the city of short distance. From our university, the KIT, Karlsruhe Institute of Technology. It's just across the street or down the street. And then you are at the Smart Production Park, where we from the DITS, the Cyber Forum and the Cyber Lab are located. And across the street, there is the Research Center for Informatics, where Sebastian is working, and the Fraunhofer IOSB. Also, so many different players are just around the corner. So we work really, really close together. Next slide, please. And in our hub, in our digital hub, our services are according to the target groups of AI users or AI experts. And for AI users, we offer AI readiness checks and AI workshops to form strategies and for use case identification. And we make AI partner matchings. And this is where our startups join in. We are networking with user companies. We organize events for expert exchanges, and we offer visibility. Next slide, please. And one of these possibilities to give visibility is our virtual AI showroom, where we present use cases from our startups in our virtual showroom, and we and it helps companies, user companies, to see what is possible in which fields and which ways is AI already working in companies, in which use cases are possible. And yeah, we're inspiring SMEs with this showroom. And over the link, you can, it would take too long to show you the showroom, to walk through it. But with the presentation and the link, you can have a look. Next slide, please. And we offer visibility with our events such as the AIXIA, it's Artificial Intelligence meets Intelligence Artificielle, our German-French AI conference, where we work closely together with our French partners. And we give experts, startups, and companies from Germany and France a stage to promote and to I'm so sorry, and to give the possibility for exchange. And we also organize events like Tech Minds, which are explicitly tailored for AI experts. And we promote the exchange and on specific themes such as embedded AI, for example. Okay, next slide, please. And here you can see a little overview of some of our partners here in Karlsruhe and all over Germany. And we are working on to continue this strong network and to offer contacts to you. And the next slide, thank you for your attention. And if you would like to get to know more about our start of our hub in Karlsruhe, please feel free to contact us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samira. We continue with the last presentation today, but will be followed by a series of Q&A if you have questions. Susanne Rost from Leipzig Spin Lab.
Yes, hi everyone. I'm happy to be here and present the underdog of the presenters today. I am grant manager at Spin Lab Accelerator in Leipzig. We are also part of the eHub initiative. There we are the Smart Infrastructure Hub. So the Smart Infrastructure Hub is well managed by the Spin Lab Accelerator here in Leipzig. Let's move on to the second slide, please. I would like to start and give you a little idea about what the SpinLab Group or the SpinLab Accelerator here in Leipzig is about. SpinLab Group is a little bigger. I will only focus on our offers in Saxony today, but we do have also an entity in Hanover, and we have a consultancy branch as well as VC fund that is associated with the SpinLab Group. Okay, let's look into what the accelerators here in Saxony are offering in our portfolio. We are we are offering award-winning acceleration program that is running for 6 months on site. But it's in addition, we offer the online academy that is open for as long as you're part of our network. We have been operating in Leipzig for the last 10 years, so we have already a vast alumni network. And interesting for the startups here, we do not, it's free of charge. We do not take any equity, so we don't have a conflict with our interests. Our programs are targeted at startups that are looking for support to, well, fit the, to find a problem solution fit and to go further to have a product market fit. And most of our startups are in the C or pre-Series A phase, but it depends on, you know, what the big picture is. For those in attendance, we do have open calls right now. So as well, Dresden as well as Leipzig are currently open. So I will go into more detail about this on the next slide. But in addition to our acceleration program, we also offer the summer school for diverse startups. It's more a boot camp in the summer. So 1 week, very intense program where we are focusing on, as it says, diverse startups. So migrant founders, gender diversity, neurodivergence. So some, you know, founders that usually do not fit in the very classical acceleration programs. We also are part of several networks. As has been mentioned before, we are part of the Digital Hub initiative. We have been one of the very first hubs that became part of the program. So we have been, I think it's like 8 years now that this program is running. We are also an European Digital Innovation Hub, just like Samira has introduced you to the one in Karlsruhe. We have a similar one in Saxony, where we are joined, SpinLab is joined by 3 other cooperation partners running the ED Saxony. But we are also very well connected when it comes to VCs, corporates as well. Okay, can you please move on to the next slide? I would like to go into more detail about our acceleration programs in Leipzig and Dresden, how they differ and what makes them, well, unique. So let's start with the SpinLab here in Leipzig, where I work. As I mentioned before, we have been running for the last 10 years, so we have a big celebration coming up. The acceleration program is focusing solely on the fields of energy, smart city, and health. This focus aligns also with the cluster strategy of the city of Leipzig. So, you know, this is helpful in the cluster strategy of the city of Leipzig also, you know, focuses on those areas. So we have a lot of corporates, SMEs that are working in those same fields. So we are lucky to have corporate partners just like the LEAG, VNG. Those are like energy providers here in, well, not only in Saxony, but like east middle part of Germany. Leipzig is also host of the European Energy Exchange. They have close ties also with the French exchange programs. So that's well, unique. For health, we have corporate partners like the health insurance, AOK Plus, but also we work closely with the University of Leipzig and their medical center. And for Smart City, we have corporate partners like, of course, the city of Leipzig, but also like Porsche, who has a plant here in Leipzig. Since last fall, we also have an entity in Dresden, the Excite Lab. The team there is focusing their programs on robotics, sensors, quantum technologies, and semiconductors. The accelerator is in very close cooperation with the Dresden University of Technology and the TUDAC. The TUDAC is a spin-off of the university, ensuring that the patents and the research that is done by the university, that it becomes that it moves into transfer, and that we all can use it for the industry. So you see there. The strength here is again that with a very strong research focus in Dresden on quantum semiconductors, we also have corporates in this field, in this area. For example, here Infineon Technologies, Zeiss, SAP, but also von Ardenne, to just name a few. Can you please move to the next slide? All right. As I said, I think our biggest strength is when we focus on those areas that I just mentioned. But of course, we have a wider network in Saxony that is focusing on the support of startups and the entire startup journey. Here on the slide, I've just mentioned those ones that we have very close ties with, that we regularly work with when it comes to our acceleration programs. So first, I have listed the research institutes and the universities, especially like the Fraunhofer Research Institutes. We have 16 in total in Saxony, which is quite a lot considering the whole of Germany. We also have the Max Planck Research Institute, with a Nobel Prize winning health institute here in Leipzig. So we have very strong research in those fields of health. Then I added the startup support initiatives. This also goes closely with the Exist funding scheme that is administered by the universities. A few of our Saxonian universities are supporting this Exist program. Last week, we heard a little more about this program, so I will not go into too much detail. Just so you know, this is also a valid option for Saxony. Then the Saxonian state has combined, or has, with Future Sax, we have like a central contact point for anything that involves innovation activities in Saxony. So they're kind of an umbrella initiative, getting together all the Saxonian startup supporters and their programs, including they have a big conference, innovation conference in the summer, and helping you connect with startups with CVs, startups with SMEs. So yes, as I said, they function like an umbrella offering. Then today we have already heard from the NRW Bank and Hamburg Invest what the funding options are. In Saxony, we have the so-called Saxony Development Bank, German Sächsische Aufbaubank. They offer various financial supports for startups, for the growth phase for established SMEs. So the portfolio of the SAB is similar to the ones that we have heard, but of course, there are always a little different details. I just want to mention here and just call that they have a very attractive business angel bonus program. And there's also the so-called market launch of innovative products. But as mentioned with the previous speakers, those offers are only available for the ones that have, that are based in Saxony. It doesn't have to be the headquarters necessarily, but you have to have a branch in Saxony. Then also we have heard earlier before, I think from the speaker from the Berlin partner, that there is the so-called GAV. It's for improving the regional economic structure. It's actually a national program, but it's administered by the federal state that is responsible for you. So in our case, it's also the SAB. In addition, I want to mention the so-called TGFS, the Technology Founder Fund Saxony. They're closely tied with our accelerator program. It's classic VC equity investor that is focusing on knowledge-based, technology-oriented startups. So actually those startups that are, going through our acceleration programs that are focusing on deep tech. I added some facts and figures just so to give you an idea. In Saxony, we have from 2022 to 2023, we had a growth of 35% of new founded startups. So Saxony is in total up and coming when it comes to the founding numbers. It's a growing scene. Let's put it like this. We also have 2 unicorns, Staffbase and Sunfire, that are located in Saxony. So this shows that even though we are more rural than Munich or Berlin or like NRV in total, we do have the infrastructure that can support growth to this stage. As I mentioned before, we have very strong research. Just to give you an idea, more than 800 patents were registered within the time frame of 2010, 2019, and all those patents want to be used. So if you are looking into funding a deep tech startup, then there's the research that is waiting to come out in the open. And I want to mention it because with Berlin and Munich, it's all very nice, but it's also very expensive. It's compared to those two, let's say, light houses of the German startup scenes. Leipzig or Saxony is about 35% cheaper when it comes to costs of living, just to give you an idea. All right, thank you for listening to me. I'll be glad to answer any questions, but also feel free to reach out if something pops up afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susanna. If anybody wants to ask a question, you can either use the chat or simply raise your hand or come on stage, so to say, and ask your questions. Okay, maybe I can.
I don't have a, sorry, André. I don't have a question. I just want to make a remark for our French public. Just to draw the attention of French people that in Germany, you always have in each land an accelerator program or a support program, a program in order to any kind of support. And usually they have a wide range of supports. And there's always a local bank, which is something we don't have in France. So it means that you can have a kind of double help in Germany. This is a specificity which is different in France. Thank you.
Thank you, Maria-Avril. Florian. You're muted, I think. We can't.
No, it's better, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Florian from Enerkite. I have a question to the overall, let's say, hubs from Hamburg and NRW. We are a startup based in Berlin, but we are at a stage where we are looking for strategic investors coming from the industry. So would it be possible to use you as a jump board to get into contact with those kind of companies in your area?
Yeah, definitely. I may answer for North Rhine-Westphalia. So, as I said, we have different instruments regarding equity investments, so convertible loan investments, which we can do for our own, but also together with investors. Some other vehicles like co-investments and own funds and regional funds. So we have a strong network in the equity area, and we are and so in that area we are really open to talk to you and how can we help to find an investor. To be honest, but basically that would be the same in every kind of federal state in Germany. To invest in a company in North Rhine-Westphalia or to use that network, it's compulsory to have any kind of a legal entity in North Rhine-Westphalia. That means headquarter in North Rhine-Westphalia or daughter company in North Rhine-Westphalia or production facilities or any other kind of network or entity to use our consultancy or to use our financing programs.
Okay, cool. To be concrete, now we are looking, for example, for strategic partnership with a company like Class Land Machines. I know they have a VC arm. So those kind of companies are very interesting for us, not also for investment, but also for a production financing and sales partnership. So yeah, are there contacts directly to this kind or such kind of companies from your entity?
So what my colleague from North Rhine-Westphalia said already, I have to agree with that. So we're always open to talk to startups, and we have a CVC circle, for instance, in Hamburg as well, which is growing. And we can, we can organize a call and then see what we can do. But for us, it's the same. It would be more attractive, of course, if you have at least the potential of, bringing something of your business to Hamburg.
Production.
Yeah,
and logistics.
So we are connected with Class. I'm personally connected to Class as well. So let's talk. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much. I don't want to spend too much time. Thank you. I will reach out.
Okay. If you have other questions, don't hesitate to raise your hand. Maybe I have a question because some of you who were presenting were talking about the fact that you don't have to have your company registered in a land, but you need a branch. What does it mean legally to have a branch? Does it mean that you have an employee working from there, or what is the?
I think it's different. It's depend upon the program you want to use. So from my perspective, it's really clear that as a young startup company, you're really free to use accelerator programs in any kind of federal state or incubation programs, even if you're not already registered or have some kind of legal entity. So there are a lot of accelerators around, special topic accelerators and so on, digital startups and tech startups and accelerators from companies and so on. You can really make use of it, even if you're not officially legally registered. And if this accelerator offers some mentoring and coaching, which should be appropriate for you, to use public grant programs or loan programs or equity programs from regional banks or regional investors. For that reason, it's necessary to have some legal link, and that could be that's different. I mean, headquarter, that's for sure, and daughter company, that's also for sure. And at the end, it's compulsory to pay taxes in the federal state, and if you did pay taxes, like if you have a production facility and so on, then it's possible to use in general that programs of regional actors.
I see. Suzanne, you want to add something?
Yeah, I can just support what Sebastian just said. So our acceleration programs are open internationally. I mean, they're on-site programs, so you are, of course, invited to attend on-site, but they're open for everyone who is interested or in need of support. But also for Saxony, it's like if you pay taxes in Saxony, you are probably eligible for most of the programs by the SRB. Yeah.
Friedemann, do you want to add something?
So of course, I mean, these days companies won't immediately set up a physical presence in Berlin right away. I mean, they first need to see some traction. They first need to have some customers, and so of course, as Economic Development Agency of Berlin, we're happy to jump on calls to initiate the conversation, to give as much information and help as much as we can. But as Sebastian rightly pointed out, if you want to benefit from, let's say, the public funding schemes and everything, you need to have some kind of presence here and also have people on the ground. So you can't be like just a full remote company with a post box in Berlin. But I guess that's pretty self-explanatory.
Thank you. A question I don't know to whom to ask it to, but I think it's a general question. Do you offer speed dating meetings? Like it can be a co-founder matching, or who wants to answer?
The question is what is your question? Whether these formats exist?
Yeah, do you already, like in some of these some of the regions and cities that were presented, is there a format where like founders can speed date, so to say?
We do have amplified events in Hamburg where either a co-founder or one founder can meet a potential co-founder, or startups can meet investors, or startups can talk to other startups. So there's a lot of matching events. So, and I would recommend, in order to find out about these events, to sign up to the Startup City newsletter for Hamburg, or look on the website Startup City for events.
Okay, thank you. Other comments, or do we have other questions?
No, I do have a comment, if I might. Of course, there's always like bigger conferences where you can meet as a startup with investors. For the participants, for our alumni network, we have a so-called investors dinner, but it's exclusively for the ones that have attended our acceleration programs, because it's a highly curated process, to have a match and to bring value to the startups as well as to the VCs. So that's why it's just exclusively for the ones that have run through our programs.
Okay, we have a question from Hans. Do you want to talk in video? Okay, then I can read your question. Do these acceleration programs accept when working with researchers from different lenders? We work with a researcher team in Munich, but then you have a startup registration in Berlin with researchers, co-founders in Munich. So what happens if I am like between two lenders? I guess that's the question.
So should I answer again?
Don't hesitate, but somebody else can also answer.
Okay, I can only say how it works with us. It doesn't matter if your team is like scattered around Germany or even international. We actually do have a lot of international teams within our participating startups. So this is for the acceleration program. It doesn't matter where you located. It doesn't matter where you are located as a person or your company is registered. We are open to all locations.
Yeah, I totally agree on that. So maybe I just can add that usually you should be aware that or should check what kind of acceleration program is appropriate to your topic and to your business model and to your team. So, and then to look how to make use of that program. So, but it doesn't matter if you have international teams or and so on. That's no problem, I guess. So, yeah.
Okay, maybe I have a question also, like a more general question, because we are happy that we could do this event all in English. Does it mean that in general, if I have to ask for some help in the regions that we could and cities that we could discover today, like I do not have to speak fluent German, and there is always some help available in English?
Yes, I'd say so. So, for instance, in Bavaria, all coachings and trainings programs, most of them are offered in English. And with English, you won't have a problem because there's always a person which can help you.
Maybe to add on that, so I think if you are in the larger tech hubs, of course, everything happens in English. Same for the acceleration programs. However, if you're, let's say, in B2B, and if you want to make sales in Germany, if you're talking to a little bit conservative industries, the feedback we get is that German is still appreciated, even though the counterparts speak decent English. They prefer to talk to somebody who speaks German. So I would say, especially in B2B sales, and if you go a little bit further to the north, to the south of Germany, you need native speakers.
And for example, Friedemann, I remember that Berlin Partner has some kind of like a job portal. Can you explain what you do there?
So yeah, we have something called Talent Berlin, and so this is a soft landing page for all people that are interested to work in Berlin and to get ideas, inspiration for jobs that are available, or the sectors that currently recruit. And there's also a talent board linked to it. So yeah, we do all kinds of activities also to help companies find the right talent in Berlin.
A question for Veronica. Maybe you want to talk about what's happening for the topic game studios in Hamburg.
So I just posted a link inside the chat. Hamburg, I mean, as I mentioned before, Hamburg is very diverse in its sectors. I could have talked a lot more about sectors, but I tried to focus on the most prominent ones to give you a guideline for whom Hamburg is. But as I mentioned before, Hamburg is also very strong in media, and we do also, do media for us also the blogs games. So there's a prototyping grant for startups. There's a great indie game scene in Hamburg. There's a lot of games. In the past, some of these games, they exited and made some people extremely rich, such as Big Point. InnoGames is also based in Hamburg. So I posted the link if you want to find out more, if you're a games developer.
Thank you. Maybe one last question, or one or two, for Friedemann. How can a question from Elio Maroon? How can a startup in Aachen benefit from the grant in Berlin? Is there a technical readiness required to get a monthly salary? The procedure to get the grant needs approximately how much time?
Let me read it in parallel. So he do you mean the startup stipendium thing, the startup stipend or scholarship? Is that what you want to ask?
If you want to talk.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi.
So, I couldn't raise my hand here. Yeah, okay. So, like we're basically based in Aachen.
Mm-hmm.
We're a startup in e-mobility.
Yeah.
Okay, and like I'm looking for grants in every part of the German country.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm asking when I saw your presentation about the Berlin partner, like you said, you have three types of grants, like you can get a salary for
Yeah.
18 months, the
Mm-hmm.
50K as a booster.
Right.
So we're legally like our entity is
Mm-hmm.
based in Aachen
Yeah.
as a company, but
Mm-hmm.
how can I like can I benefit from your programs if I want to like to go where there's more investment like in Berlin, and how much time will it take like to know if I will get accepted or not, and if there like the technical requirements like because I have like a demo ready product, but I'm still working on it to become better.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I mean, there were a couple of questions here. Um, Short answer. Let's jump on a call so I can explain you in more detail what this program consists in. So actually, there's 14 different accelerators that all have their own requirements and their own also onboarding dates. So we would have to look into a little bit the details, but I'm a little bit skeptical as far as the program is something funded by the government of Berlin. So I'm a little bit doubtful that if you keep your registration in Aachen, you can benefit from it. But happy to look into this in more detail.
One very last question from Djugas Meshka. Does Düsseldorf and NRW have a similar soft landing center like Berlin and Hamburg represented here? Question for Sebastian.
Well, to be honest, I don't know every kind of soft landing program regarding other federal states like Berlin. As I said, we have different programs, and we have the NRW Global Business Agency, which is responsible for incoming startups, to have a soft landing here in North Rhine-Westphalia, and we work very closely together with this agency. And we have up to 50 incubation and acceleration programs where we really are keen on finding the right one for you and finding the right ways to get income in North Rhine-Westphalia.
All right. So thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. It's 2 p.m. Thanks to the speakers and the listeners for presenting, listening, interacting. The replay of this live session will be published a little bit later today on our website, and we'll continue in a few weeks this series of events with how to get help from the state and also at a local level in France. So I'm looking forward to see you soon in a few weeks for the next episodes. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Bye bye.
Bye bye.